My name is Iris Vale, I'm 38, and for most of my life, I've been the kind of woman who doesn't make noise. People think being quiet means you're weak. No, quiet is just what survival sounds like when you're surrounded by people louder than truth. It started like any other Thursday. I'd just left a vendor meeting early after forgetting the encrypted USB drive with our NDAs and tax exposure files at home. Declan was working remotely, one of his focus days. Seraphine Holt, our neighbor from 2 doors down, had texted me earlier asking about the lemon balm in my garden. That was her way of pretending we were still friends. Her SUV was in our driveway when I pulled up. That wasn't normal. Declan's Tesla sat idle in the garage. House dead silent. Even the wind paused. I didn't call out. Just moved, quiet, fast. Like when you hear the wrong sound in a familiar room. Front door unlocked. No music. No footsteps. The kitchen was clean. Declan had left his coffee cup on the table, still warm. Upstairs, water was running. I heard it before I saw anything. A low hum behind the closed master bathroom door. Steam poured out from the frame. The door was locked from the inside. My chest tightened. No voice answered when I knocked. Then I pounded. Declan, open the door. No response. Just water. And a muffled grunt. I grabbed a hanger from the closet. Shoved it into the lock. My hands weren't steady. Click. And everything I knew about my life cracked open like a rotten shell. There they were, Declan and Seraphine, naked and fused together in the tub. Not just tangled, stuck, like someone had melted them together at the skin. Seraphine screamed. Declan cursed. They couldn't move. A clear, viscous film coated their thighs, arms, even where their chests touched. Bottles lay overturned on the tiled floor. Labels peeled, chemical-smelling fluid leaking into the drain. I knew that smell. I'd handled adhesives during evidence lockdowns for compliance violations. Industrial-grade epoxy. Their bodies blistered at the points of contact. Raw, red, oozing. I didn't scream. I dialed 911. Voice steady. 2 minutes later, I heard sirens. The firefighters burst in, tools ready, eyes wide. Oh my God, one of them whispered. They're glued together. Cut to paramedics lifting Seraphine out first. They had to cut around their bonded skin. Declan held like an animal. My hallway smelled like melted plastic and betrayal. They couldn't separate them on site. I watched them carry out the pieces of my marriage like evidence bags. While the medics worked, I stood frozen at the bathroom threshold until something behind the toilet caught my eye. A glint. Metal. I reached with gloved fingers. A tiny lens. A broken micro camera. Why would anyone? Firefighter behind me muttered, "This whole setup's off. I've seen freaky. This is deliberate." Cut. Police started asking questions. I gave them clean answers. No, I didn't know where the epoxy came from. No, I didn't know who installed any camera. No, I hadn't been in the bathroom since last night. I didn't say the part where I realized that someone else was in this house before me. I didn't say the part where I noticed the door had been rigged. Steam was intentional. Visibility down. Skin soft. I didn't say the part where I wondered. Who wanted me to find them like that? Someone wanted them to stick together and made damn sure I'd walk in right on cue. The hospital called first. Declan stable. Seraphine sedated. Their skin would heal mostly. Their reputations wouldn't. By mid-morning, a swarm of press had swarmed our cul-de-sac like flies on rot. Drones buzzed. Reporters shouted questions I couldn't answer. I kept the blinds drawn and deleted every notification on my phone without reading. Silence doesn't mean peace. It just means the enemy is reloading. At 2:14 p.m., my doorbell rang. No fuss. Just one long press. I checked the camera feed. A woman stood there, tall, sunglasses, calm like a cop who didn't need a badge anymore. I cracked the door. "Iris Vale," she asked. Depends who's asking. She smirked. Name's Marina Cross. Used to be LAPD. Now I investigate things that don't make sense. She held up a laminated ID. Private, security. Real. Legal. I'm not looking for a case, I said. I know. But I think you already are one. Cut scene. We sat in the kitchen. Marina didn't ask permission. She scanned the floor plan with her eyes like she was tracing danger. The firefighters pulled me into this, she said. Your 911 call made rounds. I know the epoxy. It's industrial, used in offshore rigging. You can't buy it at a hardware store. I blinked. It activates with water. Sets in 90 seconds. I nodded slowly. Then someone meant for them to be found like that. Exactly, she said. I slid the broken micro camera across the table. Her eyes sharpened. Where was this? Behind the toilet. She pulled out gloves and a plastic evidence bag from her purse, like it was second nature. Cut scene. Marina uploaded the camera's chip to her device. Black screen. One file. It loaded. Static. Then a flash. A blurry image. Declan standing shirtless near the sink. Seraphine outside the frame. A gloved hand adjusting the camera. Then static again. Timestamp. For 03 a.m. I stared. That's not Declan's hand, I said. No, Marina said. Too thin. Long fingers. Could be a woman. Or someone trying to make it look like one. Her voice dropped. You didn't find this bathroom locked by accident. Someone timed this. Someone knew your schedule. I swallowed. I forgot a flash drive. That's why I came home. What if that wasn't a mistake? Click. Another cut. We drove to Declan's office. He worked remote, sure, but Jellic Systems still had physical files. Marina had connections. She flashed a fake subpoena. The secretary flinched. Just 10 minutes, Marina said. We entered the server room. Metal racks. Blinking lights. Temperature icy. She pulled one file box off the shelf. Jellic Employee Incidents, Private Archive. Inside, NDAs, termination papers, and a document with Declan's name on it. A form titled, Project Jellic, Compliance Conflict 4B. I held it. My name was on the emergency contact line. I never signed that form. It was dated 6 months ago. Marina tapped a second document. Seraphine Holt, temporary contractor, consultant, commencement, 3 months prior. That's not possible, I whispered. She's our neighbor. She works in design. Marina raised an eyebrow. No, she doesn't. Click. Cut to a hallway. An intern jogged past, eyes down. Marina followed him with her gaze. People always forget. Buildings have ears. I turned the document over. There was a sticky note. Declan, activate Jellic crash test before merger. Clock's ticking. That's when the air shifted. I don't mean metaphorically. I mean literally, like pressure changed. Marina held up a hand. Listened. Footsteps. Not ours. A door clicked behind us. We're not alone, she whispered. I slid the files into my coat. We walked fast. Not running. Not panicking. Just fast. Back outside, the air fell heavier. Marina turned off her phone. They're watching comms. Stay dark. In the car, we sat in silence. Then I asked, You said epoxy like this has been used before. She nodded once. 3 states. For incidents. All involved. Making examples out of people. Financial ones. Public ones. What happened to the victims? 2 disappeared. 1 died in a so-called gas leak. The 4th is you. My pulse thudded. And the others? I asked. Who survived? 1. Barely. She's in witness protection now. Cut scene. Back home, my mailbox was open. Not just unlocked, open. Mail gone. Inside, I found my laptop turned off. I never leave it off. I powered it on. Password failed. I typed it again. Wrong. A warning flashed. Too many attempts. Locked out. On the screen, a single sentence appeared. Stop looking. Next time it's your body they find. Declan didn't just cheat on me, he brought a war into our home. The message on my laptop wouldn't go away. White font. Black screen. Stop looking. Next time it's your body they find. I powered it off, pulled the battery, threw the whole thing into the sink and ran cold water over it. Paranoia is a safety mechanism when your instincts are the only things still honest. You don't scare the lion by whispering in the grass, I muttered. Cut. I told Marina everything. She didn't blink. Just ask for the backup USB I'd supposedly forgotten that morning. I handed it over. She plugged it into her own encrypted drive. Scanned it. Froze. What? I asked. She didn't answer. Just turned the screen. 3 files. Not my tax reports. Employee surveillance logs. Internal acquisition plans. Veil project. Emergency injunction. To be activated upon Incident C. I leaned forward. That's not your company, Marina whispered. It's a shell. She clicked the second file. Documents scrolled. Corporate charter. Names I didn't recognize, and then one that made my stomach drop. Raphael Nolan. External legal executor. Contingency protocol. I know that name, Marina said. Used to be in high-risk corporate dismantling. Known for weaponizing scandal. I stared at the screen. That USB wasn't in my bag by mistake. Marina nodded slowly. Someone planted it, but they didn't expect you to actually come home early. Twist. Cut scene. We tracked Nolan to a law office in West Hollywood. He'd retired, supposedly, but his name was still on the door. We didn't knock. Receptionist gone. Lights low. Marina drew a small tactical flashlight from her jacket. Swept the hallway. We found his office door ajar. Inside, glass desk. Empty shelves. One photo turned face down. The only thing left. A locked file drawer with a keypad. Marina knelt, pulling out a USB-sized scanner. EMP lock, she said. Probably biometric or time-based. I watched the hallway. My heart beat in my throat. Then, click. Drawer popped. Inside, one manila folder sealed in plastic. The label read, Veil Iris, finalized. I pulled it out. Inside, a full psychiatric profile, false. Fabricated. Diagnosis, schizophrenia with paranoia and dissociative episodes. Signatures forged. Photoshopped images of me self-harming. A scheduled 5,150 hold. Marina's jaw tightened. They're building a narrative. You're not unstable, Iris. But if you say anything, this makes sure no one listens. They're not just killing my name. They're staging my fall. And they'll wait until no one's watching. Click. Cut to hospital parking garage. Seraphine was still admitted under a false name. We paid off a nurse. Slipped into the recovery wing. She lay in a dark room. Hooked to fluids. Skin raw. Lips cracked. I leaned over. Tell me who paid you. Her eyes fluttered open. You don't get it, she rasped. This wasn't for you. It was for the vote. What vote? She gave a half smile. The merger. Jellic goes public in 5 days. If Declan's reputation tanks, the board takes over. Who wanted him gone? Her face twisted. Not who. What? Then her eyes rolled back. Flatline. Nurse rushed in. Marina pulled me out. Someone silenced her. No, I said. Someone used her. And just burned the trail. Cut. I checked my car as we left the hospital. Front tire slashed. Back seat ransacked. Someone had been inside. Marina muttered. We're not just being watched anymore. They're starting to tighten the net. I opened my phone. 6 missed calls. All from Declan. Voicemail loaded. His voice shaky. Hurried. Iris, listen. It wasn't what it looked like. Seraphine, she's not who you think. Neither am I. You're not safe. Go to the lake house. Use the name Lark. Marina will know. Please. Before. Cut. Voicemail ends. Screen goes black. A message flashes. This device has been remotely wiped. I stared at the empty screen. He knew. He'd known the whole time. And if he wanted me at the lake house, then he wasn't running from this. He was leading me straight into it. Marina Drove. No headlights. Backroads only. The silence in the car wasn't just tension, it was restraint. The kind you develop when your every move might trigger something wired to blow. There's something you're not telling me, she said. I didn't look at her. I think this goes deeper than the merger. I think it goes back years. She grunted. You don't bury a body 6 feet deep unless the bones can scream. Cut. We reached the lake house by midnight. Fog hung like a threat. The old place was inherited from my mother, a real estate fluke in Echo Lake. Declan never liked coming here, said it felt like a place where secrets went to rot. Maybe that's why he picked it. I typed in the security code, 1492. Door clicked. Marina stepped in first, weapon drawn. The house was cold. Still. Kitchen chair tipped over. Whiskey glass cracked on the floor. No Declan. But his jacket was here. Wallet too. I picked it up. Blood on the sleeve. Not much. Not fresh. Something rustled upstairs. We froze. Then a creak. Marina held up 2 fingers. Moved fast. I followed. We burst into the master. Empty. But on the bed, an old voice recorder wrapped in duct tape. A note taped to it. If I'm dead, listen. She hit play. Declan's voice. Low. Slurred. Panicked. If you found this, then I'm already gone. They used Seraphine to get to me. They said they'd erase our debt. Mine, Iris's, the company's if I delivered the votes. I thought it was just a setup. Just a scandal. Rustle of papers. Heavy breathing. But then they started surveillance. Tracking Iris. Sending threats to Nolan. They told me the only way out was to discredit her, frame the incident, and disappear. A pause. I couldn't do it. His voice cracked. I saw her eyes that day. She knew. She always knew. I wasn't the man she married. I was the fire waiting to happen. Cut. The tape word. Static. Then another voice. Female. Cold. You shouldn't have left the phone on, Declan. A sharp sound, like metal hitting skin. Then silence. We looked at each other. Marina said, that wasn't Seraphine. I nodded. No, that was Lark. Cut scene. Marina pulled out her phone. Texted someone with only the word, Lark. Reply came instantly. Active. Last sighting. AMC building, 5th floor. Who's Lark? I asked. She hesitated. Used to be deep cover. Cyber ops, cleanup team. Untraceable. Known for shutting down leaks. Violently. Why would Declan know that name? Marina looked at me. Because he used to work for them. Twist. I sat down hard. Everything's a lie. No, she said. Some of it is misdirection. But there's one truth they can't fake, fear. I opened the closet. My emergency safe was still here, hidden behind my mother's old robes. Code 2110. Inside are wedding rings, backup IDs, burner phones, and one envelope I didn't recognize. No name. No return address. I opened it. Inside a single key. Metal. Cold. Stamped with the initials AMC. Below it a photo. Me. On my wedding day. With someone standing in the background. A man in a charcoal suit. His face blurred, digitally distorted. But he was holding something. A briefcase. Open. Inside wires. Not metaphorical. Literal. I flipped the photo. Scrawled in ink. You've been in this longer than you think. Cut scene. I stared at the lake through the window. Water still. My reflection shimmered. Then a ripple. A light across the shore. Brief. Faint. Another. 3 flashes. Morse code. Vuatetsecha. We hit the lights. Grabbed bags. Weapons. We need to get out, Marina said. But where? She turned to me. You said AMC. 5th floor. I nodded. That's where the servers are, she said. If we want truth, we pull the files ourselves. And if they're waiting? She looked out at the lake again. They already are. The road to the AMC building was a straight line of panic. Rain hammered the windshield like someone trying to break through. Marina drove, one-handed, the other pressed against the bullet graze on her arm. She refused to let me take the wheel. You ever notice, she said through clenched teeth, that the moment you go looking for the truth starts looking back? Cut. I kept checking the rear view. Same black SUV. No plats. Headlights too dim, deliberate. Whoever was inside didn't care if we saw them. They cared if we stopped. Why tail us now? I whispered. Because we're getting close, Marina said. People don't chase ghosts. They chase threats. The SUV edged nearer. My pulse thudded. The road narrowed as we hit the freeway exchange. Buckle up, she said. I'm about to ruin someone's night. She swerved hard, cutting into the carpool lane. The SUV followed. Cut scene. Rain blurred the world into streaks. Our tires hissed. A horn blared behind us. Another SUV appeared on the right, joining the chase. 2. I gasped. They're closing a triangle, Marina said. Classic pinch. Lightning flashed. And that's when the shooter leaned out of the back window. Hood up, face covered. Gun raised. Get down. Marina yelled. Glass exploded. Wind screamed through the cabin. I crawled low, hands covering my head. A thought rose through the panic like a blade. Declan knew this would happen. One more shot cracked the passenger mirror. Marina jerked the wheel. Hold on. She cut across traffic, tires skidding, into the exit ramp. The SUV behind us fishtailed, smashing into the median. Sparks flew. Metal screamed. The second SUV didn't back off. It followed. Cut. We shot into a construction zone, cones flying. No road, I whispered. Good, Marina said. They won't expect it. But the SUV behind us did expect it. It accelerated. Too close. Marina slammed the brakes. The SUV clipped us, launched forward, barreling straight into a ditch. Smoke rose. No movement inside. I exhaled once, shaky. She laughed weakly. You know what someone once told me? Sometimes surviving is the loudest rebellion. Let's make some noise. But the victory lasted only seconds. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. A video opened automatically. Static. Then Seraphine's face. Bruised. Bloodied. Strapped to something metal. Her voice barely audible. Iris, don't trust Declan. He isn't the victim. He built Jellic. He. A scream cut her off. Footage ended. My stomach iced over. That wasn't recorded at the hospital, Marina said. Look at the background. Industrial beams. That's a server facility. My throat tightened. The AMC building. Cut. We parked behind an abandoned laundromat, 3 blocks away. Rain softened to a drizzle. Smoke from the crashed SUV drifted across the skyline like a warning. Marina cleaned her wound and checked her gun. You good? I asked. She nodded. Pain reminds me I'm alive. Silence reminds me I'm hunted. I swallowed. Marina, what if Declan really was part of this? What if the bathtub wasn't humiliation? What if it was cleanup? What if they were done with him? She didn't look at me. Then this gets uglier. We moved through the alley. Broken glass. Rattling vents. Neon reflections on asphalt. Every shadow felt like a person exhaling. By the time we reached the AMC building service entrance, my legs felt electric. Fear, adrenaline, grief merging into one sharp frequency. Marina pulled out a small device and scanned the lock. Biometric, she said. Needs an employee signature. What kind? She held up a replica key, etched with the same letters as the one for my envelope. AMC. Iris, she said carefully, this doesn't just open doors. It opens records. Gated ones. Legacy ones. Someone trusted you with this before you even knew what you were a part of. My breath caught. Why me? Because you were invisible, and invisible people make the best vaults. Twist. The lock clicked. The door opened. Inside, a concrete hallway humming with power. The lights flickered like they were breathing. The air smelled like ozone and metal. We moved fast, up a service stairwell, down a short hall, toward the server hub. Then Marina stopped. She touched her shoulder. Iris, if something happens to me, you keep going. People like us, we don't get second chances. Only louder consequences. A beat. And I can't shake the feeling this whole story has been waiting for you. I didn't answer. Couldn't. We entered the server room. Cold. Blue lit. Rows of machines stacked like monoliths. At the center, a biometric terminal, with 2 hand scanners. One labeled primary, the other secondary. My voice broke. Declan's implant, it's the primary key. Marina nodded. And the secondary Seraphine. But she's gone, I whispered. No, Marina said softly. She's here. The video showed these beams. Same construction. They brought her to the AMC building. I stepped closer to the scanner. If I activated it, everything would unlock. Or burn. Because Declan's implant was tied to a dead man's switch. No authentication equals full wipe. Data gone. Evidence gone. Truth gone. I felt it then. Every lie. Every bruise on Seraphine's face. Every tremor in Declan's voice. Every threat in the dark. This wasn't about scandals anymore. It wasn't even about money. It was a purge. My fingers hovered inches over the scanner. Iris, Marina whispered. Once you start this, there's no safe left to run to. My voice shook. He didn't just fall into the trap, he laid it. The door slid open. Cold air rushed in like a verdict. Iris stood under the rooftop floodlights. Rain lanced the city below. Neon reflections danced on puddles. The wind smelled of power and danger. Declan Royce appeared. Slow, calm, dripping water from the rain. Suit ruined. Expression empty. Eyes steady. He didn't look like a husband. He looked like a puppeteer whose strings had been cut. You made me watch him drown first, I said. My voice hard. He smiled. I gave you a front row seat to the collapse. Everyone collapses eventually. Cut. Marina emerged from the shadows, gun drawn, face set. Police sirens echoed in the distance, closing in. The live stream feed glowed on my pocket burner. Key figures already had the link. Exposure waiting. Lightning cracked over the skyline. Say goodbye to Jellic, I told him. Declan raised a hand. You don't get it, Iris. This is bigger than you. Bigger than me. It's a system. Rain starting to erode the floodlights. Water pooling under our feet. I aimed the camera at him. His posture didn't waver. Behind us, the city seemed to hold its breath. Here's the truth, I said into the phone mic. You built this on lies. On bodies. On secrets. And tonight it all comes down. Slow motion. Rain splashing. Neon blur. Declan's sleeve sliding. His hand twitching. Then the struggle. Marina langed. He pushed back. Her gun clattered across the rooftop. I dropped the phone to catch it. Rain spattered on the glass. I aimed, my hands firm. I saw his eyes flicker. Something like recognition. Then fear. Shots. The flash. Echo. The world tilted. Declan fell. His coat slipped off. Water pooled red around him. I closed my eyes. Betrayal burned through bone. But the camera kept rolling. Light from the city, like witness beams. Siren lights painted shadows across the rooftop. Marina cuffed him. I watched the sky crack open with thunder. Cut. Days later, I stood in a sterile courtroom lobby. The press swirled. Cameras. Blinding. I didn't flinch. On the screen, evidence logs, internal emails, footage of the bathtub, server room timestamps, the confession video from the rooftop. Jellic collapsed. Stock plummeted. Executives vanished. Documents shredded in 1,000 offices. But not this file. Not now. I held the last flash drive. A clean passphrase, a second key. To a future we can't escape, I whispered, because truth doesn't vanish. It waits. Outside, a woman approached, quiet steps. Unknown. She passed me a sealed envelope. Court will send the papers. No name. No face. Distraction. I glanced down. Same initials. AMC. I clenched the envelope. Cut scene. Back home. My mailbox again. Empty. Except for a package labeled for me. Inside, a small wooden box. Inside the box, 2 wedding bands. Mine and Declan's. Tarnished. Vet. I dropped them in the sink. Water rushed over the metal. Washed them clean. I stood under the kitchen light. Cold. Quiet. I thought of Seraphine. The neighbors. The lies. The glue. The cameras. The death. I looked at my reflection in the faucet's metal. The woman, staring back, wasn't the quiet background anymore. She was the author. The witness. The one who refused to disappear. Justice doesn't begin with vengeance, I said softly. It begins with truth. I typed a post not for tabloids, not for lawyers, for anyone who'd ever heard threats in the dark, felt watched, felt powerless. You don't get to witness me break. A minute later, my phone buzzed. News alert. The network reported arrests, indictments, whistleblower offers, internal investigations nationwide. The files started leaking, not from me, but from the silence I shattered. Cut. I walked outside. The rain had stopped. Air smelled clean, like a page turned. The city lights flickered, one by one, like stars across water. I closed my eyes, breathed deep. No fear, no regret, only presence, only truth. He didn't just fall into the trap, he laid it. But I walked out alive, and I told the world,